Donald Trump has been back in office for a year, and Democrats are still trying to coalesce around the best way to confront him while also winning back the trust of voters who left the party. It's been kind of messy, but while voters are still wary of the party, polling shows that, Democratic candidates have been winning, even in some surprising places. So do they need to get out of their own way, or is it enough to let voters get sick of Donald Trump? Joining us, staff writer for The Atlantic, Mark Leibovich. You asked this question, Mark. You went around the country talking to candidates, talking to party officials, and you got a few different answers. What did you learn?
Yeah, I mean, essentially, I sort of went on a safari of the Democratic wilderness, which may or may not be a mixed metaphor, but I'm not really sure. But starting around last August, I sort of, the Democrats, there's been sort of an article of faith that they have been in the wilderness since losing the 2024 election. And usually when parties lose big elections like that, there is a time of sort of soul searching and hand wringing and infighting and all those words. Democrats seem to be going on with that for a long, long, long time. And I just wanted to sort of go out and take the temperature of what seemed like a really beleaguered, really sort of broken party at a moment when Trump seemed to be, I wouldn't say untouchable, but certainly seemed very, very more, much stronger than he is today. So I went out, I talked to about, 4 or 5 dozen people, took the temperature, and basically Democrats are all over the place. This is usually how it works. And also usually how it works is they're sort of waiting for the other side to overreach, to sort of make themselves a more attractive alternative and hope that the historic trend lines sort of help save them in the next election this coming November. And that seems to be what's happened.
When you talk to some of the winners, though, or the people that seem to be on the track for winning, a lot of them are saying the same thing, which is we need to fight. We need to be more ruthless. Celeste Slotkin said Democrats need to be more ruthless. Sarah Longwell, who, was a Republican and is now part of this Trump resistance, is looking around at the Democrats, according to conversations with you, and saying, what's going on with these people? They're not ready. They're not ready to fight. They're not equipped to it. She said this: Republicans are over here being straight up mercenaries. Democrats give everybody Fridays off and talk about work-life balance. They want to win so effing bad. These are voters she talks to. But she says, if you watch the DNC, you still see the pronouns and the name tags and the land acknowledgement at the start. And the voters are like, get that stuff out of here. There's an interesting dynamic among the Republicans, former Republicans who want to see Donald Trump lose and are trying to align themselves with the Democratic Party, who they look at and say, this is not a party that is serious about winning. It's a party that's trying to make special interest or smaller interest groups happy.
Yeah, I mean, now that the Democratic tent has sort of expanded to include a lot of former Republicans since Trump came on the scene, you do get a sense of sort of a clearer vision of what this all looks like. And look, Democrats are a big and unruly and very messy party. They always have been. They've always been overly sensitive to sort of take care of their various interest groups, their employees, and so forth. The piece starts with kind of this kind of rebellion inside the Democratic National Committee when Ken Martin, the chairman, ordered that everyone come back to work, that their very generous work from home policy would end in February of 2026. Sure enough, the union leaked their dissatisfaction to the New York Times. It became a big thing. And this is sort of what Sarah Longwell in the quote you just read was referring to. Basically, look, this is a time for ruthlessness. The candidates that seem to be, and the politicians that seem to be capturing the imagination of the electorate, the Democratic electorate, are those who are fighting harder. It's not so much a center versus progressive thing as it is someone who is willing to do what it takes to sort of fight on the very ruthless terms that Republicans seem to be fighting on since Trump came on the scene.
Well, do you have a sense of how they should react to Donald Trump tonight? A lot of them aren't going to be there. Some are going to their own event. Others are staying. There's no consensus on how to deal with the State of the Union.
Yeah, I would just say do no harm. I mean, look, I don't think there's ever been a voter in the United States in the last 10 years who said, I'm going to vote for this person because so-and-so happened at the State of the Union, unless there's something wholly egregious that happens. But basically, the party is not a monolith. They're defined by the candidates. They're defined by the recruits. Democrats seem to have a promising, setup for November. We shall see.
All right, Mark Leibovich, always good to have you. You have the Barbara Walters interview look today with the soft lighting and the haziness of the shot. I appreciate it. It's bringing me back.
I actually thought about what to do here. Anyway, yeah, I'll do better next time, or worse.
You need some flowers. Get some bouquets to put around you.
I'm a print guy. I'm an inkstand wretch.
Mark Leibovich, always good to have you.